Guys, this is Waga. Welcome to the channel. We are going to continue building our app, and last time we worked on the profile block, and now we're going to work on the UI element. So we're going to build what you're seeing currently. As always, like and subscribe, leave a question if you have in the comments, and you can start the repository on GitHub. So we will continue. First things first, to do this, to build this form actually, there are several packages we need. We need Font Awesome. Font Awesome will allow us to have these icons. We need these icons, so we can get them from Font Awesome. We need the geolocator, which tells us exactly where we are. So we need a geolocator so it can tell us our location. We need a file picker so that we can pick files. Yeah, so we need a couple of files, and we also need a date picker so that you can get this slide in date, right? So those are the things that we need, and we are going to get them first, and then we start building our profile form. We continue, and how we're going to do that is we are going to first come to pub.dev, and that's where we can get our various packages. And the first file we need is going to be the first package rather, file underscore, is it underscore, is it one name, file picker, yeah, file picker underscore, yes, file underscore picker. So this allows us to get pictures, get the path to the picture, things like that. It's important. We'll use it for handling our image, which will be our profile image, right? So you can see examples here, and you can choose the extension, what type of image, things like that. And yeah, it's pretty good. And to install it, we would come here and we would pick file picker like so, copy it, and we go to our pubspec.yaml, and we can come here and pubspec.yaml and under rx dot. And another thing, for current block, which is 3.20, you can get rid of rx dot, right, which we use in our login and sign up pages, because it comes as part of Flutter BLoC. So you could get rid of this, but when we upgrade to 4.0, we will need to use rx dot, so we might leave it. But yeah, you could like come here and do this and do something like this. Our app will still work, or you could leave it for when we come back to it in the future. In Flutter 4.0, I think rx dot was decoupled from Flutter BLoC. So that's one of the changes we're going to make when we finish the app and we are updating it. And I also think we're going to update a bit of it to use stateless widget, like on the home page we're using a stateful widget. We could change this to stateless. I saw an example in the documentation for Flutter BLoC on how you can use a stateless widget. So we could, a stateless widget would be more performant. So that's one of the things we could check towards the end. But anyway, that was just a slight digression. We should come back here and put file picker. Remember, this file is indentation sensitive, so we need to do that, make sure that they're all aligned like so. And after that, we go back to our pub.dev, and we get our font awesome. We could say font awesome. Everything is awesome. Everything is good when you're part of a team. Okay, font awesome. Yes, so we get font awesome. Oh, it's by Brian again. Okay, that's good. He has a couple of I believe, is it scoped model or something? He has other packages also. When you work with Flutter, you start noticing names. So it's font awesome. We come and sorry, it's not selecting. And we can hit copy, and we can come back down to our pubspec.yaml, and we can hit that. And after that, we have a datetime picker. Yeah, datetime picker, the one that slides from the bottom. Flutter Cupertino datetime picker. Where is it? Let me just confirm the name on it's datetime picker. It's actually supposed to be Flutter datetime picker. On my notes I had written Flutter date. Okay, there are so many of them. Flutter, what's it called? Flutter datetime picker. Flutter datetime. Let's just search for this. Flutter datetime picker. Here it is. Yes, this one. I didn't realize that there are so many datetime pickers. So I get this, copy, and to use it, we come to the pubspec.yaml like so, and we get our Flutter datetime picker like so. It's been upgraded since I last worked on it. I'm guessing. No, it hasn't. Not really. Oh, actually, it has. Because yeah, it has. So Flutter datetime picker. I don't think they're going to be breaking changes. And the final package and the most consequential is geolocator. Geolocator has a bit of setup, right? So we could come here and we could get geolocator. Geolocator. It's the same as when I was building this. And where do we put it? We put it here. Put it under the, So we have geolocator, and and we could hit pubget, and then we could work around the setting up of geolocator. There are a few things we need to set up to make geolocator work for us. So give it a second, let it reach, and so we have gotten the three. We have gotten FirePicker, FrontAwesome, Flutter datetime picker, and geolocator. There are a few things I'd like to say about geolocator generally. Is that it has several issues, and the methods that when I was using on Android, I have a Windows machine where I run the Android simulator. The methods that were available on it's supposed to be platform agnostic, but there's some methods that were not working on iOS, but they were working on Android. And generally, I had less problems with iOS than I did with Android than I did with iOS. So you might find that there are issues. That's why, for example, you find that some profiles are created which it says that are 15,000 kilometers, because I had to hard code them when I was building. Basically, if you come to repository, let's just open it in a new tab like so. If we come here and we create a new, if you come to issues, you find that I'm guessing the future sometimes never resolves on iOS 13. This is a problem you can encounter when you're trying to get the current position, and also when you try to use something like get current accuracy.best. So you could get issues on either the Android or the iOS. Allowing background updates. There are several issues with geolocator generally. So my idea is, if you run into these issues, look at Stack Overflow, particularly if you're on iOS. Stack Overflow, if the worst comes to the worst, just hard code it. You can come and I can show you how you can hard code it. You can select the simulator, you can come to debug, you can come to location, and you can set a custom location. You can come and enter the latitude and the longitude, and it will be picked up like that. If you are having problems with get current location, that's one thing you could look at and consider, right? So with that said, let us now install geolocator. Continue, and to do it, what we need to do is where is it? It's somewhere down here. Permissions, yes. So first things first, if you're using Android, you would come to here, and I think it's in the Android manifest tab. You'd copy these two lines, copy, and we can go to let's close the lib folder and Android, and that's in the app, and this is the src, and the main, and yeah, that's where the Android manifest is. So we come here, and where do we put it? We put it, let me just see, where is it? Here. Okay, as direct children of the manifest tag. Okay, so we could come here and we could say users permission as direct children. Okay, yeah, so we put it in the manifest tag like so. Yes, we come back to permissions and we can copy this line like so. We can hit copy and we come back to our app and we go to we close this, we close the Android. Yeah, it's in the iOS, so we'd come to the runner, and where is it? It's supposed to be the info. Is it this one? Yes, it's in the runner folder, not runner.xcode. Yeah, so we go to the info.plist, and inside the dictionary we could put it somewhere here. And yeah, and I also find that as a precaution to also include these other two lines for support for earlier blah blah blah, earlier versions of iOS. Just do it so that you don't you come up aces. So you can come down here and we hit that, and basically that. So that's how we install on Android and iOS. On Android we do it in the Android manifest.xml, and on iOS you do it in the info.plist, which is in the runner, not the runner xcode or the runner x workspace, just the runner file. So basically with that done, we can now start building out our app. Continue, and for that we create a gender widget. We'll create a widget to hold this various genders, and since we're going to use it a lot, we can just make it reusable. Going to use it at least, I'm guessing, is it 6 times? At least, yeah, we're going to use it at least 6 times, yeah, because there's 6, right? So we're going to pick 6 of them. So rather than build it each time, we could just outsource it and create a separate widget. So we come here to the widgets folder in the UI. We're in lib, of course, and we can come here and create a new dart file. And the dart file is going to be it's going to be called gender. And we can hit enter, and in gender we're going to have, we of course need Flutter material dart like so, and we come down here and we're going to have a widget of type gender widget, and this one is going to take 4 things. It's going to take parameters of icon, text, size, selected, and on tap. So we could have icon, text, size, selected, so that when we select it, and what happens when we tap it. So you could say on tap like so. And we are going to return a gesture detector, and the gesture detector, first thing is on tap, we're just going to pass in the on tap like so, and its children, or its child rather, it's going to be a column which is going to have children, and the children are going to be icon, and this icon is going to be the icon passed in. The size is going to be the size passed in. Size actually is going to be size dot height. We're calculating the height, of course, from the measurements of the media query, and we multiply it by 0.11, comma, and the color is going to be, we're going to check whether it's selected, and if it is, I was just showing you an example, If it's selected, if it's not selected, it's black. If it's selected, it's white, right? So we could say selected, and we're going to use a ternary expression, and this is going to be colors dot white, else it's going to be color. Let's give ourselves more real estate. Colors dot black. We could just say black, like so. Yeah, so basically that's that. Then we're going to give it a sized box to separate it. We could say CZ sized box, and the height is going to be size dot height, and we multiply it by, let's give it a bit of space to make the Swift gods happy. Yeah, and after that we're going to have a text. The text is going to be the text that is passed in, right? So the text, no, the style is going to be a ternary, right? So we could just say text style, depending on, you see the text is highlighted alongside the icon, right? So we could say a text style, and the color, we could just copy this because it's the exact same ternary, so no need to reinvent the wheel when the Sumerians already did it. It was the Sumerians, right? I suspect it was the Sumerians. And just a detector here, we can close it off with a semicolon. Let me check our data analysis. No errors. Okay. Yeah. So basically, that's the gender widget, and now we can create the profile form. The profile form is going to be a stateful widget. So for that, we would come to widgets, and it's going to be embedded in a page, just like the login and sign up. So that's why we're putting it in widgets. So we could come here and say new dot file, and we can call it profile form, like so. And we hit enter, and we have our profile form. And this is going to, it has a name field, right? So you know it's going to be stateful to work with the text editing controller, right? So we could say that STFUL. You should know that if you've been following along. For that we say profile form, like so. And then afterwards we import the prerequisites, which is Flutter material that, like so. And all the errors go away. And so we start building out. And final, first things first, we need to have bring in the user repository, right? We're going to be using the user repository to create the profiles, and Firebase, or no, not Firestore, not Firebase, Firestore. So we could say final user repository, and this will import it. It's automatically imported. I won't mention that it's that I imported it. It will, the IDE will help you. You get the same, more or less the same thing on VS Code if you're following along, which is just as fine. And after that, we need to basically just tell the form that we're passing in the user repository, and that it is going to be, it's not going to be null. We've done this a couple of times. I don't see why we should type it up again. We should just come to the sign up form, copy this, and change as is required. Wait, we could come here, copy, and we can change as is required. We could hit copy, come to profile form, and we could say, instead of sign up form, this is the profile form. So we get the profile form, we pass in the user repository, we say it's not going to be null, and basically that's that, right? And afterwards, now we come down here, and first things first is we're going to need the age, the location, the photo, the gender and the interested gender, the blocks, and the user repository. So first, we could say we could declare the fields that will have strings, and that is gender, comma, and interested in, like so. So we have those. Yeah, those are the ones with the that are going to have the what's it called, the string. Yeah, those are the ones that are going to be of string, and the age is going to be, we're going to calculate it from the date time, so we're going to say age here, like so. And yeah, and after that we're going to have a photo, which is going to be a file, like so. And after that we could have a location. The location is going to be a geo point, which I think we need to import Cloudflare stuff for that. So and we also need to import this, right? Import that.io. And geopoint, I think we've already imported. It's going to be location. So basically, when you hit the save button, it just checks where you are. It checks your current location, and it uses that to calculate the distance, right? I think I've mentioned that before. And after that, we need the text editing controller. And for the text editing controller, we could come back to the sign up form, and the text editing controller is going to be called name. So we could just come here, copy this, exactly the same, and we could put it at the top. We could stick it at the top, like so. And we could say final text editing controller, and instead of that we're going to have name, since this is the name, right? So yeah, and after that we need to reach up to the user repository, and for that we could say we could create a getter for it, but first let's just create the getter first. Okay, you could say user repository, and the getter is going to be user, why isn't it helping me? Help me, please. User repository, and that will be widget. We reach up to the widget dot underscore user repository, like so. Why is this complaining? Get, oh, I forgot to type the user repository, like so. Okay, so we're going to user repository, get user repository, and no, I made a mistake, sorry, I balled it up. Widget.user repository, and we spelled it correctly, and we put that semicolon like that. Yeah, so we corrected that, and afterwards I think what we need the profile block. So we could say profile block, and this is going to be profile block, like so. So I think we've got everything. We've gotten the date, the geopoint location, yes, the file photo, yes, the gender and interested in strings, yes, the user repository get, yes, the profile, where's the profile? The profile block, yes, and the text editing controller, which is up here. So basically I think we have everything we need to start building. No, we still need to get a flag for whether the fields have been filled. Flag that checks if we have filled it, essentially. So we could say bool get is, we have filled the, what's it called, the form, right? It's filled. I think we did it in others. We also did it in the sign up and sign up form, right? We did it here, yeah. It's populated. Yeah, this one is called it's populated. This one is going to be it's filled. You could also call it it's populated. It's populated is what is used in the, what's it called? the documentation as an example. So yeah, so we normally pick the names used there in the documentation. It's easier to follow along. So yeah, so you could say is filled, and you could also say is populated. No problem. Just make sure you use it control. You predictably use it after that. Use it the same. Don't change to is filled. We could say name controller dot text, and we're just going to make sure the text is not empty. And after that, we're going to say and the gender is not null, and after that we could say interested in is not null, and after that we could say photo, that is, you have selected a photo, we could say is not null. Just a second. And after that we could say and make sure all this are checked, and we could say age is not null, like so. And I think we have everything. So basically just make sure that he has entered a name, he has entered a gender, he has entered the gender he's interested in, and he has entered a photo, and he has entered what's it called, his birthday, so that you can calculate the age. The location will be automatically calculated. When you start up, it will ask you, what's it called, when you start up, the info.plist will ask you for permissions, for the various permissions. When we run it, we'll see. So basically that will be that. Yeah, we can check, we can create a flag to check if we've filled everything, so that we can make our button clickable. The user will not be able to click our button until they've filled everything. So for that we could just say bool, and this is going to be a getter. No, it's just going to be a boolean, a flag. We could say is button enabled, and this one is going to take the profile state as state, like so, and it's going to return is filled. You can use if is populated if that's what you did, and is submitting. So it's going to check. If it's not submitting and it has been filled, we can safely enable the button so that the user can press it. So that can be that. And after that we're going to create onSubmitted. But first we could create the, what's it called, the function that will get the location of the user. Yeah, we could call it get location. So that's what we're going to do next. The video you're watching has, in my view, gone on for too long. I've decided to split it into two since it was part of a much longer video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, and you can start the repository on GitHub, and we'll continue this in another video.